Micheal Williams was not supposed to hear the conversation. He had just spoken to Lola, his wife, and ended the call when she called back. "Hey, what's up?" he answered automatically, not noticing anything was wrong.
Oh, hi.
"Can you grab some milk on your way home?" "Sure, no problem. Anything else?" "Nope, that's it. Thanks. Love you." "Love you too." He was already setting the phone down on his desk when he realized something was off. The call hadn't disconnected. He could hear muffled sounds, fabric rustling, footsteps, the distant hum of music. She must have dropped the phone in her purse without properly ending the call. Micheal picked it back up, about to call her name, when he heard her voice. God, he's so predictable. I literally just told him to get strawberries and he said sure, no problem. Like a trained dog. Michael's hand froze halfway to the end call button. A man laughed. Deep, confident, unfamiliar. 9 years of marriage will do that. You've got him trained well, babe.
Babe?
The word hit Micheal like a physical blow. His heart started hammering against his ribs. "Oh, please," Lola said, her voice light, playful in a way it hadn't been with him in years. "Micheal was trained the day I met him. Sweet, stable, predictable. He proposed after 6 months. Can you believe that? I barely had to try." "Does he know?" The man's voice dropped lower.
About you?
"About us?" Lola laughed, and it cut through Micheal like glass. God, no. He doesn't even know Bright is not his son. Michael's vision blurred at the edges. His 8-year-old boy, Bright, wasn't his son. Bright, who ran to the door every evening shouting, "Daddy's home." "Does that bother you?" Marcus asked, his tone curious. "Why would it?" Lola's response was immediate, casual, like they were discussing the weather. "Micheal gave me exactly what I needed when I needed it. A ring, a house, money, a father for my baby. And he's been perfect at playing that role. Devoted husband, doting father, never questions anything. He just accepts whatever I tell him." Michael's hand was shaking so badly, he almost dropped the phone. But he couldn't hang up. "So what now?" Marcus asked. "You've been stringing him along for 8 years. What's the end game?" 6 more months. Lola's voice turned calculating, businesslike. His partner wants to buy him out of the consulting firm. The offer's on the table, $200 million. Once that money hits our joint account and the deal closes, I file for divorce. I walk away with half of everything, plus child support for Bright, alimony too since I haven't worked in years. "You've really thought this through." "Of course I have. I've been planning this for 2 years, ever since you came back into my life. Why do you think I've been so accommodating?"
So sweet?
"I just need him to stay happy and clueless for 6 more months. Then I'm free." God, I'm so tired of pretending. Tired of his boring conversation. Tired of his family game nights and his pathetic attempts at romance.
They both laughed.
Micheal sat frozen at his desk, phone pressed against his ear, listening to his wife dismantle their entire marriage like it was nothing more than a business transaction she'd executed flawlessly. 9 years. 9 years of loving this woman. 9 years of building a life together. 8 years of being a father to a boy who wasn't even his. He stayed up countless nights when Bright was sick. Taught him to play football. Helped him with his homework every single night. And Bright wasn't his. Everything had been a lie. The call continued in his ear, but he wasn't hearing words anymore. Just noise. The sound of his world ending. Then, finally, the call disconnected. Micheal stared at his phone. The call duration read 10 minutes and 22 seconds. 10 minutes that destroyed everything he thought he knew about his life. Micheal sat in the silence of his office, surrounded by blueprints and financial reports and the ordinary trappings of his ordinary life, and felt something crack open inside his chest. Before we continue this story, drop a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss our upcoming stories. Trust us, you won't want to miss what happens next. Micheal didn't remember driving home. When he walked through the door, Lola was in the kitchen making dinner. She smiled at him, the same smile she'd given him for years. "Welcome home, dear. How is work?" Micheal looked at her. really looked at her. She was beautiful.
He'd always thought so.
Shoulder-length braids, bright eyes, the kind of smile that used to make his day. Now all he could see was a stranger. "Fine," he said. His voice sounded normal. "Where's Bright?" "Upstairs doing homework. Dinner will be ready in 20. He nodded and walked upstairs.
Bright's door was open.
He sat at his desk, pencil in hand, tongue poking out slightly as he concentrated on a math worksheet. When he saw Micheal, his whole face lit up. "Daddy, can you help me with number 7? I don't get it."
Daddy.
The word hit Micheal like a physical blow. He walked over, looked at the problem, and explained it. Bright got it on the second try and gave him a high five, his small hand slapping Michael's. That night Micheal lay in bed next to Lola. She fell asleep easily, like always. He stared at the ceiling until dawn, his mind replaying every moment of the last 8 years, searching for signs he'd missed. Had he been blind? Just trusting? Maybe both. The next morning, Micheal called in sick to work. He drove to a private lab in Lekki with Bright's toothbrushes and his own. He was told the results will be ready in 5 to 7 business days. Those were the longest days of Michael's life. He went through the motions. Work, home, dinner, helped Bright with homework, kissed Lola goodnight, all while this knowledge burned inside him like acid. He watched Bright more carefully now. The shape of his nose, his eyes, his laugh, trying to see himself in the boy and finding nothing. But then Bright would show him a drawing he made or ask him to play football in the backyard, and none of it mattered. Because whatever blood ran through Bright's veins, he was still Michael's boy. Wasn't he? The results came on a Thursday. Micheal opened the envelope in his car, hands shaking. The words blurred at first, then one phrase came into focus. Probability of paternity, 0%. He sat in that parking lot for over an hour, that paper trembling in his hands. 8 years of sleepless nights. 8 years of birthday parties and doctor's appointments. 8 years of being called daddy. All of it built on a lie. But Micheal didn't go home and confront her. Not yet. He was angry, devastated, but he wasn't stupid. He needed to know where he stood. The next day, he met with a lawyer.
Barrister Sam.
Micheal told him everything. Showed him the DNA results, played him the recording he'd saved from that phone call. Sam listened, made notes, then looked at Micheal seriously. "Can I keep custody of my son, even though he's not biologically mine?"
Sam nodded.
"You're the registered father on his birth certificate. You've been his primary caregiver for 8 years. Under Nigerian law, unless there's evidence you're unfit, which there isn't, you have full legal rights to that child. Biology doesn't override 8 years of established paternity." Relief flooded through Micheal. And the divorce? What does she get? With evidence of adultery and paternity fraud? Sam leaned back. "Very minimal. We can protect your assets. She might ask for spousal support, but we can argue strongly against that given the circumstances. But you need to document everything she does. Every conversation about the affair. Track her spending, where she usually goes, and what time. Save text messages. Record conversations if you're part of them. That's legal. Stay calm. And don't let her provoke you into doing something stupid. Most importantly, don't let her know you're planning anything until we're ready." Over the next 2 weeks, Micheal became someone he didn't recognize. He installed recording apps. He tracked credit card statements. He noticed Lola staying out late on Wednesdays and Fridays, always with vague excuses about meeting friends or her women's group meetings. He saved screenshots of unusual charges. Expensive restaurants he'd never been to. Hotel rooms booked every Thursday afternoon. He acted completely normal at home. Smiled. Made conversation. Played with Bright. Kissed Lola goodnight. All while building an airtight case against her. On Wednesday night, 2 weeks after he got the DNA results, Micheal decided it was time, but something unexpected happened. He was in Sam's office when his phone rang. The caller ID showed Bright's class teacher. He answered the call only to be told Bright had been rushed to the hospital. Micheal didn't remember the drive to the hospital. Just the fear. The raw terror that something was wrong with his boy. When he burst through the emergency room doors, Lola was already there, pacing, her face pale. For a moment, despite everything he knew, despite the lies and the betrayal, they were just two terrified parents united in fear for their child. They were taken to a small waiting room. They sat in plastic chairs, not speaking, not looking at each other. Every minute felt like an hour. Micheal kept seeing Bright's face that morning at breakfast. He'd seemed fine, laughing at something, asking Micheal to quiz him on his spelling words. Had there been signs? Had Micheal missed something? 2 hours later, Dr. Elric came in. His expression made Michael's blood run cold. He told them Bright had acute kidney failure. Both kidneys were functioning at less than 15%. He was going to need a transplant. Without one, his prognosis was very poor. The words washed over Micheal like ice water. His son.
His boy.
The kid he'd raised for 8 years, taught to play football, helped with homework, tucked into bed every single night. They were both taken for blood tests immediately. Micheal watched his blood fill the vial and thought about all the times he'd held Bright's hand while he got injections, telling him he was brave, telling him everything would be okay. Now Micheal was the one who needed to be brave. He was the one who needed to save him. Micheal found himself praying that he'd be a match, praying that he could give his son his kidney and save his life. He didn't care that Bright wasn't his biologically. He didn't care about any of it. He just wanted Bright to live. When Dr. Elric returned, his face told Micheal everything before he opened his mouth.
I'm sorry.
Neither of you is a match. The words didn't make sense at first. It took Child another minute before it hit that he wasn't Bright's biological father. That's unusual for both parents, Dr. Elric continued, looking uncomfortable. But given the urgency of Bright's condition, we need to explore other options, maybe a donor. Micheal looked toward Lola, expecting shock, fear, maybe even concern. But her face didn't change. She tilted her head, a faint smirk curling her lips. Well, that's easy, she said, voice casual, almost gleeful. I'll just call Marcus. He's Bright's real father. He'll donate his kidney. He will be happy to take responsibility. The words hit harder than any blow. Micheal blinked at her, searching for some sign that she was joking, that she felt the slightest bit of remorse. But there was none. Only calm, calculated confidence, as if she were announcing the weather. He swallowed, his voice barely steady. Wait, Marcus? What are you talking about? Who is Marcus? Why would he donate a kidney for my son? Lola crossed her arms, smirk curling her lips. Bright is not your son, Micheal. Didn't you already know? I saw the DNA test at home, so don't act innocent now. And you didn't think I deserve some explanation? An apology? You can leave now. Bright is not your son. He's my responsibility. Michael's anger broke through the shock. You don't get to tell me that, Lola. Bright is my son. I've raised him. I've been there for him every single day. Oh, Micheal, she said with a small laugh. You've done your part. You paid the bills, tucked him in every night, but biologically, Bright has nothing to do with you. Her words cut deeper than any blow. Michael's stomach twisted. She didn't even look at him as she dialed Marcus's number. But the moment Marcus arrived, everything she believed was about to fall apart. If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to subscribe because what Marcus did next shocked everyone. Marcus arrived 45 minutes later. Where is he? Marcus asked, not as a question but as a demand. Dr. Elric appeared, extending his hand. Mr. Nwosu? Thank you for coming so quickly. We need to run some tests to determine compatibility. Actually, Marcus cut him off, glancing at Lola with something that made Michael's stomach turn. It wasn't love. It wasn't even affection. It was annoying. We need to talk first. Privately. Lola's face lit up. Of course. Let's go somewhere.
No.
Marcus's voice was firm. Here is fine. He should hear this too. He nodded toward Micheal. The first flicker of uncertainty crossed Lola's face. Marcus sighed, like he was delivering bad news about a business deal that hadn't worked out. Look, Lola. I can't do this. Can't what? Her voice was suddenly small. I can't risk surgery. I have 2 children at home who need me. My wife needs me. I can't be laid up for weeks recovering from major surgery for, he paused, choosing his words carefully, for a situation that honestly isn't my responsibility. The silence was deafening. Your wife. Lola's voice cracked. Yes. Marcus checked his watch. Married for 6 years. Ngozi is pregnant, and she's due in November. Micheal watched Lola's face drain of color. Watched her world collapse in real time. But you said you promised we'd be together. You said once I divorced him. She gestured vaguely in Michael's direction. Lola. Marcus's tone was patronizing now, like he was explaining something to a child. Come on. You're a smart woman. Did you really think I was going to leave my family? My wife's family owns half the commercial properties in Victoria Island. I have a reputation. A life. You told me to file for divorce, she whispered. I suggested you'd be happier. And you would be. I never lied about that. Your marriage was dead anyway. But that doesn't mean. He trailed off, shaking his head. Look, I care about you. I do. We had fun. But this? He gestured around the hospital. This is too much. Too complicated. I have my own children to think about. I gave you money, Lola said, her voice rising. I transferred thousands from our joint account. I paid for your business expenses, the trips, And I appreciated it. Marcus's voice was maddeningly calm. But let's not pretend that was anything other than what it was. You wanted excitement. I provided it. Fair exchange. Fair. Lola's hands were shaking. I destroyed my marriage for you. We were supposed to. You destroyed your marriage because you were unhappy, Marcus corrected. That's not on me. And honestly, Lola, you're not exactly in a position to play the victim here. You cheated on your husband for years. You lied to everyone. This is just consequences. He checked his watch again. I need to go. Ngozi's expecting me for dinner. I hope everything works out with Bright. Really? But I can't be involved. Marcus, please. Lola grabbed his arm. He removed her hand gently but firmly. Take care of yourself, Lola. And then he was gone. Lola stood frozen in the hallway, staring at the elevator doors where he'd disappeared. Her breathing was shallow, rapid. Her hands trembled. Micheal watched her realize it all at once. She'd blown up her entire life for a man who'd been using her, who had a whole family she'd never known about, who'd taken her money, her time, her marriage, and given her nothing but lies in return. Dr. Elric cleared his throat softly. Mr. Bright, if I could speak with you? Regarding alternative donor options. Micheal stood up. His legs felt weak, but he forced them steady. Yes, he said. Let's talk about saving my son. He walked past Lola without a word. She didn't even seem to see him. Just stood there, broken, finally understanding what she'd done. What she'd lost. What she'd traded everything for. And Micheal felt nothing.
No satisfaction. No vindication.
Just a grim determination to save Bright. Because while she was playing games, while she was busy chasing excitement and passion with a married man who saw her as entertainment, Micheal had been a father. 3 days later, Dr. Elric said that they found a donor. The surgery was successful. 6 hours of waiting, then relief. Lola was served divorce papers the following day in the hospital parking lot. Her hands trembled as she read. Full custody to Micheal. Child support from her. Every text message, bank transfer, and email to Marcus attached as evidence. Micheal, please. Her voice cracked.
We can talk about this.
We can. There's nothing to talk about. He's my son, too. You can't just take him. You called him your son when it was convenient, Micheal said quietly. You forgot he existed when Marcus was around. You were willing to let him die while you chased a fantasy with a married man who was using you. The tears came then. Real ones. I made mistakes. I know that now. But I love Bright. Please don't take him from me. I'll change. I'll be better. You had 8 years to be better, Lola.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I didn't realize what I was throwing away until it was gone. Micheal gently removed her hand from his arm. That's the thing about consequences. They don't care if you're sorry. The court battle was quick. The evidence was overwhelming. Text messages, bank statements, character witnesses, teachers, neighbors, church members, all confirming Micheal was the primary caregiver. Micheal got full custody. Lola got supervised visitation twice a month. 6 months later, Bright came home with excellent grades. Micheal took him to a nice restaurant to celebrate it. Micheal saw Lola again at a mediation hearing. She looked smaller, worn down, broken. She was working part-time, living with her parents in their compound in the village. "How is he?" she asked quietly.
Good.
"Happy. Healthy. You're a good father, Micheal. You always were. I just couldn't see it until it was too late." 1 year after the divorce, Lola sat alone in her small room in her parents' compound in Enugu. The contrast to the spacious home she'd shared with Micheal in Lagos was stark. No expensive furniture. No modern kitchen. No laughter of a child filling the house. She'd spent the past months replaying every moment, every decision that had led her here. The affair with Marcus had seemed so exciting at the time. The restaurants, the hotels, the feeling of being desired by a powerful man. She'd convinced herself that Micheal was boring, that she deserved more, that passion was more important than stability. Now she understood what a fool she'd been. Her twice-monthly supervised visits with Bright were torture. Not because she didn't want to see her son, but because of what she saw in his eyes. He was polite, respectful even, but distant. He called her Mama, out of obligation, not affection. When their hour was up, he'd run eagerly back to Micheal, hugging his father with the kind of pure joy he used to show her. Some nights, Lola would lie awake thinking about Micheal. Not the excitement she'd chased with Marcus, but the small moments she'd taken for granted. The way Micheal would bring her tea, without being asked. How he'd rub her feet after a long day. The patient way he'd explain things to Bright, never losing his temper, always present. She'd thought she needed passion. What she'd actually needed was right in front of her all along. A man who showed up every single day, who put his family first, who loved without conditions. Now that man has moved on. She'd heard through mutual acquaintances that Micheal was doing well. His business was thriving. Bright was excelling in school. They had a peaceful life, just the two of them. And she had nothing. The money she'd stolen from their joint account to give to Marcus, millions that could have secured her future, was gone. Spent on hotel rooms and expensive dinners for a man who discarded her the moment things got complicated. Working part-time as a sales clerk in a small shop in Enugu, Lola made barely enough to contribute to her parents' household expenses. The designer clothes she'd once worn sat unused in her closet, mocking her with memories of a life she'd destroyed with her own hands. One evening, she saw a family in the market. A man, his wife, and their young son. The boy was laughing, holding both his parents' hands as they walked. The pure, simple joy on all their faces made Lola's chest tighten with a pain so sharp she had to look away. That could have been her. Should have been her. But she'd chosen excitement over stability. Lies over truth. Selfishness over family. And now she was paying the price. 6 months after abandoning Bright at the hospital, Marcus's perfect life began to fall apart. An anonymous email exposed everything, his messages to Lola, hotel bills, and secret transfers. His wife, Ngozi, discovered the truth. The confrontation was explosive. 6 years of marriage, a pregnant wife, and he had been living a double life. Ngozi's family didn't just have money, they had power. Within weeks, divorce papers arrived. He lost his job and lost custody of his kids. He rented a small room in Surulere, struggling to rebuild a life no one trusted anymore. One quiet night, he remembered the hospital.
Bright.
The son he refused to save. At the time, walking away had felt like the easy choice. Now he had lost everything, his family, his status, his respect. Karma had finally caught up with him. Because some choices don't just change your life. They destroy it. Moral of the story. This story reminds us that true fatherhood is not defined by blood, but by love, sacrifice, and presence. Anyone can create a child, but it takes commitment, patience, and a caring heart to truly be a father. Being there through the sleepless nights, the sickness, the school days, and the difficult moments is what truly matters. Another important lesson is that deception always comes with consequences. Lies may seem convenient at the moment, but the truth has a way of coming out. Trying to keep two lives at once or taking advantage of someone's love will eventually lead to loss and regret. The story also shows that people often chase excitement and temporary feelings, forgetting the value of stability, loyalty, and genuine care. Unfortunately, many only realize what they had after it's gone. When life becomes difficult, the people who truly care will reveal themselves, while those who are only there for convenience will walk away. Most importantly, character is revealed during hard times. Anyone can claim love when things are easy, but true love shows up when it matters most. The person who stays, supports, and sacrifices during a crisis is the one who truly deserves to be valued. Appreciate the people who show up for you every day. Don't take loyalty, kindness, and consistency for granted. By the time you realize their worth, it may already be too late. If this story moved you, take a moment to appreciate someone who has always been there for you. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs this message, and subscribe for more powerful stories and life lessons. Also, drop a comment below. What lesson did this story teach you?